Namaskar, I am Radhika Shroff, Counselling Psychologist and Rehabilitation Professional from Mind Jito. Today I am going to discuss the rights available for parents of children with neurological disabilities who do face challenges in getting admission and the support required in regular schools. I had made this video earlier in Hindi, but my South Indian viewers who are actually facing the same problem demanded this video in English, and hence I have come up again with this topic. Many parents are concerned about the academic related difficulties faced by their children, for which they do consult me. Out of these children, some do suffer from neurological disabilities which lead them to face challenges in their studies. These children are sometimes also called special children. Along with psychological counseling, these children do need certain special provisions to be provided by their schools and their boards so as to minimize their difficulties. My dear South Indian viewers, don't worry, because the school will adjust according to your child. For example, if your child is facing problem in a particular subject, his subject will be changed and he will be marked accordingly. If your child's writing speed is slow, he will get extra time during his exams. If your child is more comfortable in typing rather than in writing, he will be permitted to use computers to take his examinations, and he will also get a writer to write his exams in case of his reading and writing difficulty. However, due to lack of awareness, many parents don't know about their rights and neither the schools about their duties set by the law of the nation. And this is the reason why, despite being a counseling psychologist, we are taught this particular act during our training period. And this video is a way out for me to create mass awareness regarding the back support of the law behind our psychological counseling services. And the name of the act giving us back support is the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities Act, or RPwD Act. This act states that no person or no institution has the right to discriminate against anyone on the basis of his or her disability. A school cannot deny admission to any child on the basis of the fact that his disability will create challenges in his studies. The school is obligated to grant admission to the child and provide such special facilities to him that his studies can be continued and he is able to adjust there. And even if a school provides special provisions to the child, it cannot ask the parents to pay extra fees for those special facilities. Like if a school says we are hiring a psychologist or a special educator or sign language expert or any other special professional for your child, or we are buying and procuring certain special technology to assist your child, and in which we are incurring a huge expenditure and hence you need to pay extra fees to us, parents don't need to pay for those extra expenses. The government has made the national funds for persons with disabilities from which the schools will be funded. And moreover, a nodal officer is appointed at every district education office to deal with the school admission and other related matters for children with disability. If a school is facing problems in raising funds and other matters, the school will approach that nodal officer rather than asking parents for extra financial assistance. CBSE, along with other boards and the central government as well, have laid down certain guidelines and set certain standards to be followed by the schools. These guidelines can be divided into three categories: infrastructure, transportation, and information. Talking about infrastructure, the schools would need to modify their whole building by getting ramps, lifts, and special toilets constructed. The schools would also need to modify and customize their classroom benches for those students who are unable to sit on those normal benches. The schools would also need to procure certain special technology, for example, by getting speech software installed in their computers, and even talking textbooks for students with visual impairment and reading difficulty. Talking about transportation, the schools would need to modify their school buses by getting ramps constructed on its entrance for the convenient boarding and deboarding by the students in wheelchairs. Talking about information, the schools would need to state everything, all important information clearly in their websites, because a website is a convenient source of all kinds of information about the schools for the parents and the students as well. Hence, the schools would need to clearly mention in their website which provision is available in the school for which disability, how the students can avail these special provisions, and also about the grievance cell where the students can complain about any misbehavior which if it takes place in the school. Also, the teachers of the school would also need to be regularly trained and well informed about inclusive education so that they can bring it into practice. Inclusive education means including the students from various backgrounds such as rural and urban, various socioeconomic status such as high, middle and low, and various kinds of disabilities, and even the students without disability in one classroom and teaching them collectively. It is called inclusive education. The CBSE and other boards and the central government as well have set the guidelines, and the RPwD Act is also existing. However, it has been observed that some people via unfair means try to avail such special provisions despite not being suffering from any kind of disability. Hence, to avoid that, it is mandatory for the parents and the students to have a government proof that they actually need help. This government proof is called the medical certificate of disability, which mentions the name of the disability from which the child is suffering, the challenges faced by the child due to this disability, and the accommodations needed to minimize the challenges faced by the child. This certificate also mentions the percentage of the disability. This medical certificate of disability is required to avail special provisions from the boards. However, we counseling psychologists and rehabilitation professionals do play a role in facilitating the child to avail special provisions from the schools. After the overall psychological assessment of the child, if we recommend something to the school in writing, the school is duty bound to follow all those recommendations. For example, if a child is facing problem in reading and writing, and if we recommend the schools in writing to take his oral examinations and mark the student accordingly, the school is duty bound to do so. Despite the RPwD Act and the disability certificate, if a school asks the parents to take the TC of their child and get him admitted to some other school under the pretext of not having special provisions for the child, not having trained professionals or the required technology, what will parents do in such a case? Don't worry, because if the school breaks the law, it can be fined for up to rupees 5 lakhs, and its registration for running the school can also be cancelled. If there is someone among my viewers who is planning a mischief that he will avail these special provisions via unfair means despite not being in need, let me caution you that you can be fined for up to rupees 1 lakh, or you can be imprisoned for up to 2 years, or it can be both with you. And if a school teacher or any other staff member discriminates against any child on the basis of his or her disability, misbehaves with the child, or gets violent and sexually abusive with him or her, that person will be punished severely. He will be imprisoned for up to 6 months and will also be fined. Unfortunately, despite covering 21 disabilities, this RPwD Act doesn't recognize 3 disabilities, which are attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, borderline intelligence, and tic disorders. These children also need special provisions and special support by choice in subject or extra time during exams, or a writer in case of reading and writing difficulty, and some even need a spare room during their examinations. But CBSE and other boards will be able to provide such special provisions to these children only when RPwD Act will recognize these disabilities. These three disabilities are recognized by the World Health Organization and American Psychiatric Association. Hence, I appeal to the government to raise this matter in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha for amendment in the RPwD Act to ensure that all children receive the support they need. Let's work together to raise awareness and strive towards a more inclusive society for every child. Thank you.